It's been a very unusual warm November for the first 3 weeks for a good part of the country, but things are changing as we head into Thanksgiving of a much colder look as we transition from more of a Pacific flow to more of a cross polar flow after Thanksgiving and then heading into the month of December. So if you take a look at the temperature anomalies for those first 3 weeks, and it's been predominantly warm across a good part of the central and western US. About 70% of the country has been well above average, I would say. And it's really just those areas across the east where they've been average to maybe slightly below average. And it's been pretty wet. We've seen these disturbances come off the Pacific. That's that warm flow. That's the warmer anomalies that we've been seeing. But we've also seen a fairly significant setup with these several systems of vorticities and slow systems that have dived down into California and then swung across the southern branch of the jet stream and left all the heavy rains like yesterday in portions of Texas, and especially like Dallas had the record monthly all-time set wettest day on record. And then California has been a deluge of precipitation, and yet even this morning we've got yet another system that's impacting Southern California. And yes, bringing more heavy, if not flooding rains for them. You can actually see this deep into Southern California as this keeps spinning and spinning, sending out spokes of energy out ahead of it. We do have some rain precipitation from the leftover system from yesterday that left all the flooding across portions of Texas. Now that has moved northeast. So now today they're getting it in portions of Missouri, back into Illinois, as well as into Indiana, and then further south back into the southeast. And there is the system out west that's impacting for them and bringing all the heavier rains, and that will slowly move into areas of say Arizona as we head into tomorrow. But you can see the jet stream, there it is. That's why we're getting some of those warmer anomalies, because it's been well to the north for this time of year as these Pacific disturbances travel along the southern branch of the jet stream. And as we head into Sunday, that system out in California will be gone for them. Now it'll be highlighted over the desert Southwest, but once it actually starts to tap into some of that Gulf moisture again, especially deeper into the day on Sunday, we'll likely start to get heavier rains impacting a lot of the same areas that got impacted just yesterday as the jet stream keeps the warmer anomalies alive, at least for now. There is the bullseye. The Weather Prediction Center has already highlighted that slight risk for excessive rainfall. Yeah, they really don't need. They were desperate for rain. Then it comes too fast, too at one time. It's either feast or famine for the deep south, and we're getting it again as we head into Sunday, and especially Sunday night into Monday timeframe, with probably another 1 to 2.5 inches of rainfall widespread across these areas across the yellow region, and then some isolated amounts of 4 inches can't be ruled out. Unfortunately, San Antonio's probably not going to get much. Houston's probably not going to get much. But yes, more areas into southeastern Oklahoma, getting into Arkansas, will likely get another 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. And there's the bullseye. I mean, for this time of year, it's got 1.5. That's pretty saturated. November is likely not usually a wet month technically. I mean, yesterday it was almost double than what you typically receive for the entire month. So that's just gives you the idea of the extremes of what we're dealing with right now in the atmosphere, with the capability of these systems moving across, dumping some very heavy rain for this time of year, and the training thunderstorm aspect of it too. So you still get these lines of waves of precipitation that tends to keep forming and forming over the same areas. And that's why you can get that flash flood warnings in a big way. And we even had an emergency, flash flood emergency, with up to 10 inches down towards Minyard yesterday in areas of Texas. Now, as we head into that Monday timeframe, it'll be moving out of there again and then highlighted over Arkansas, back into Missouri again. As you look to the northwest, Yeah, that's an indication of the pattern finally actually trying to change as you get the more of a blocking high starts to set up at the Alaska Ridge. That will start the first indications of kind of a more of a cross polar flow type setup, especially as we transition into Thanksgiving and then really starting to take hold as we head into that first week of December. But for now, we're talking about Tuesday, the 25th of November, and that's going to continue to put the precipitation now highlighted over southeast, over areas of Kentucky, getting into Tennessee, back through Indiana again, as well as Ohio. And there's the mountain snow that will be coming in on the backside. And a 1041 Arctic high pressure up there in British Columbia that gives you an indication of things to come, of some of that colder air trying to go down a little bit further into the southern branch of the jet stream. And there's by as we head into Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, we're finally looking at below average temperature anomalies for the central and parts of the eastern 2/3 of the country, as that colder shot of air will push from the northwest down to the southeast, and much of the country will likely start feeling the effects of this colder shot of air, considering where you've been for a good part of November. Yes, it's going to feel every bit like Thanksgiving out there. And as you wake up on Thanksgiving morning, you're going to feel the chill, as about, I don't know, about 120 million of you are be waking up with freezing temperatures. So what it's going to feel like on Thanksgiving morning, yeah, that's some chilly, cold stuff out there. Widespread 20s feels like, if not in the teens, across Iowa, back into Illinois. Feels like freezing in Kentucky, back into Virginia, even further south into Tennessee and portions of the southeast. So you get the idea. It's going to be a chilly Thanksgiving morning ahead, and that's likely the things to come, as finally we'll slowly move out of that more Pacific flow to more of that cross polar flow, and the indication of this dominant ridge starting to build up there in Alaska. That will send a colder signal of more of a cross polar flow, and those colder anomalies that's been kind of bottled up there in Canada are just waiting for that trigger to come down and filter into the lower 48. And that's exactly what's going to happen heading into Thanksgiving and even into Black Friday, and been pushing in those areas across the east with those colder anomalies, and a chilly light day coming up for Black Friday. But that'll be just the indication of the start of things to come, as we have that blocking ridge being a little bit more pronounced, especially as we head into that first week of December. And definitely a more colder shot of air, a more widespread shot of air will be coming down and taking hold a good part of the country, likely starting into the central US, and then slowly shifting east as we transition deeper into that first week of December. Here is December 4th, 5th time frame. A good part of the country is starting to feel that colder air. You're already getting colder because you're transitioning closer to winter. But yeah, below average temperatures, if not some areas well below average temperatures, by then we'll definitely feel every bit like winter. So we'll be talking a lot more about this and things to come as we kind of transition, from a warmer fall to a colder fall, and then heading into the month of December. So guys, I appreciate you watching. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch you next update. Wire protect you before and after the storm.